Hi, my name is Terry Morris from Impulse Hub Online Marketing and Website Development. And with me is, there's Siobhan in the background there, Siobhan Q, who is the Clinical Director of the Fertility Treatment Center. And also joining us are two of Siobhan's patients, Anna Toomey and Kathy Cunningham. And they're with us today to talk about their stories and their fertility journeys. Okay, so for those who don't know Siobhan, she is a registered midwife, a registered general nurse. She worked in Ireland, England, and Australia. She's been helping couples with fertility problems for nearly 20 years. She is a qualified herbalist, a registered practitioner of traditional Chinese medicine, and holds a diploma in obstetrics and gynecology. She's been using the best of both Western and Eastern medicine to help couples with fertility problems since 2001. So if you have questions, please put them in the comments and we'll do our best to get them answered. Okay, so today we're talking about endometriosis, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to the people who you want to listen to, which is Siobhan. So I'm going to move out of the way and just ask a couple of questions. And again, if you have questions, if you want to put them in the comments, and I just want to say thank you everyone for joining today. So, Siobhan, can you tell us what is endometriosis?
Right, endometriosis. I should probably start by saying that the endometrium is the lining of the uterus and it's shed at every period. Endometriosis is where the lining of the uterus, the endometrial lining, is found in areas outside of the uterus. The research shows this is generally caused by a retrograde flow, which is a backward flow up the fallopian tubes and out into the ovaries and in the pelvic cavity and into the rectum area. And it's also triggered by an autoimmune response, yeah.
Okay, and how common is this?
And actually, different research shows different statistics, but anything between 20 to 50% of all cases of infertility have endometriosis. Yeah, so it's quite a high level. I see quite a good few women with endometriosis. It isn't very in forms. There's minimal, mild, moderate, and severe endometriosis. And severe is the one that can cause the most damage, obviously, with fertility. Actually, 25% of all cases with endometriosis don't realise that they have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are some of the symptoms, John?
The symptoms with endometriosis, one of the most common symptoms is dark clotty periods that are usually heavy, and so this usually causes painful periods. Dysmenorrhea, because when the uterus contracts to try and get the clots out, this causes pain. It's also linked with painful bowel movements, especially at the period time. It's linked with ovarian cysts, it's linked with rectal pain, painful bowel movements, painful sex, painful urination, and generalized pelvic pain. Some women can have this pain throughout the whole month, actually. Yeah, so it can be quite debilitating for many women with endometriosis, this pain. Yeah, it's a very bad pain.
Can you talk about the link between endometriosis and infertility? Because there's quite a strong link there, isn't there?
Yeah, how it links with the fertility. As I say, the endometriosis, the endometrium, the menstrual blood goes up through the fallopian tubes. So this can cause blocked fallopian tubes. Actually, 5%, research does show 5% of all infertility has blocked fallopian tubes. Also, there's a big autoimmune reaction with endometriosis. With endometriosis, and it does activate cells called macrophages, which are round cells. And macrophages, the general function of macrophages is to clean up the debris and the bacteria in the system, which is obviously good. That's their function in the body. But with endometriosis, it is nowhere to clear it to, because it's in the pelvic cavity, there's nowhere to clear it to. So because of this, it triggers an inflammatory reaction with endometriosis. So because of this inflammation, this links to implantation issues. In Chinese medicine, this is under the category of blood stasis and damp heat. The body is very much in an acid acid condition. And also the macrophages release chemicals called cytokines, which a lot of gynecologists and IVF clinics now are pushing more attention onto this, and with the autoimmune bloods. And the cytokines, these chemicals are actually toxic to the embryo and the sperm, so this leads to further infertility. Also with endometriosis, there is increased prostaglandins in the body, and because of this increase in this hormone, this leads to the fallopian tubes being less flexible, and again, this is another trigger for blocked fallopian tubes. Also, it's linked to a condition called luteinized unruptured follicle syndrome, which is basically means that there's so much stagnation, blood stagnation around the ovary that the follicle can't rupture when it's meant to rupture, and this delay with the rupture, it's trying to rupture and it can't, and then by the time it ruptures, sometimes the egg can be that little bit older, and so this is caused by the stagnation, and this in turn can lead to a condition called luteal phase defect, where the second half of the cycle will be shorter, and sometimes this is not enough time for implantation to happen. And so yes, it's absolutely linked to the infertility. And from my point of view, also with endometriosis, one of the basic causes of it is these dark clots in the period. Whether it's diagnosed endometriosis or whether it isn't diagnosed endometriosis, the dark clots in the period impedes on implantation. And also, and this is something actually that I hear quite a lot about, endometriosis and AMH, the dark clots in this area can impede on the follicles being developed in the ovary. And because the follicles aren't able to develop because it's all dark, stagnant blood, and this can lead to a lower follicle count, and this in turn can lead to a low AMH level.
Okay, maybe we might just take a break here and talk to Kathy. So, Kathy, thanks for coming. And if you wouldn't mind, just tell us a little bit about your story and how you came to see Siobhan.
Yeah. So in February 2015, I came off the pill with the aim of conceiving a child, and my periods came back more or less straight away, but I noticed that they were dark and clotty and they were very painful, and I had never experienced that before. I'd been on the pill for about 10 years. So after a few months, they kind of started to become unbearable. I started attending my GP and they just prescribed painkillers, and as the months went on, it was becoming more and more difficult, so I attended different GPs, and eventually I was referred to a consultant. The consultant carried out a laparoscopy, which is a surgical procedure to diagnose endometriosis. And I was diagnosed with endometriosis and endometriosis, fairly extensive endometriosis in my ovaries, and that was all removed by laparoscopy. In August then, the consultant carried out an AMH test on me, and my AMH came back as 2.2. I had never heard of AMH before this, and he explained to me that was extremely low for a woman of my age. I was 32 at the time. I was advised to attend a fertility clinic immediately for a consultation and to see what treatments they would advise me. So in September I went for a consultation, and I was told that my only option was IVF. Found that really distressing. I wasn't expecting it. I thought I would be given other options, but we were told this was our only option. So we were told as well we would have to start fairly soon if we wanted to proceed with IVF, because of my AMH level being so low that was basically my egg count, and that would just decrease as time went on. So in October we commenced with the IVF treatment, and that was really difficult. My hormones were all over the place. The injections were very difficult to deal with and cope with, and we had family occasions on, and very hard trying to hide it and distressing. And we hadn't told anyone because it was extremely hard thing to go through, and that you feel very down on yourself and you don't want to talk to people about it. So we had to tell a couple of people, which was hard. And then we thought we'd gotten through all the injections, and we thought, look, we were told basically that we weren't going to get a high number of eggs, but that my eggs were probably good because I was young, and that egg quality was important, and I only needed one good egg. So I went for the egg retrieval procedure. I was sedated for this, and when I came around after sedation, the nurse just said, no eggs retrieved today. And that was it. We were left to walk out of the clinic with no explanation, completely devastated, didn't know what that meant. So we went home and I got on the internet and started Googling, what does this mean? And kind of knew fairly quickly that no eggs retrieved wasn't a good thing. And given my AMH level and the endometriosis diagnosis, that I was going to have a very hard road. So I started Googling alternative treatments and I saw Siobhan's website and I started looking at the testimonials of the other girls and the other women that had gone for treatment. And it gave me hope, like, that there was other options out there. Siobhan's credentials also as being a trained midwife and having her degree and stuff, I knew she knew what she was talking about. So that hadn't fully convinced me, and I started looking on boards for other women who had been in my situation, who had maybe heard of Siobhan, and I PM'd a couple of people and they all said, hands down, do go to Siobhan, you won't regret it. So my husband and I came for a consultation in November and we started to treat it straight away. In the February then we went back to the IVF clinic just for a review of what we had gone through and why it didn't work out, and basically told us I had no chance of conceiving naturally and that my chances with IVF were very, very small and less than 2%. That contacted Siobhan again.
Can I just ask if you're happy to mention there was a change, I think, with the period straight away?
Yeah, there was. So immediately, like the first month after I started attending Siobhan, I noticed that my periods were redder, I had less clots, I had less pain. I didn't need to take, like I used to take Constant for my whole period for about 4 days. And now I was taking a paracetamol maybe at the start, and then kind of after 2 months, I didn't have to take the painkillers. I was able to cope and I was able to manage way better. You know, it wasn't as debilitating as I had been before that.
And Siobhan, this is a common story that you hear a lot from patients, isn't it? Unfortunately, many of them who are told that their AMH level is so low that is their only option, but you have seen yourself, as you said in the previous
Actually, thanks Kathy for sharing your story. And just to mention, Kathy is 14 weeks pregnant now, and the scan and everything is great, which is great. And thanks Kathy. Kathy travelled an hour and a half up here today to tell her story, so I really appreciate that, because I know your story will help others, Kathy. It is something that I commonly hear, low AMH, and people think that it's their egg reserve. Actually, Kathy, if you're happy to say the obstetrician Kathy went to during this pregnancy.
I went for my first scan, and my obstetrician had asked me my history, and I explained, and I told him about Siobhan, and then I explained that the consultant at the IVF clinic had told me that the AMH was a measure of egg count, and I said Siobhan disagreed, and she told me it wasn't, and he said that Siobhan was 100% right.
For your egg reserve, that wasn't, that's not your egg reserve, because everyone without exception that I've seen that has taken the herbs and the supplement, without exception, their AMH has gone up considerably high. And I've done another Facebook Live on this, but it's a message I really want to get out to couples out there, that AMH does not measure your egg reserve. It just gives an indication of your follicle count at that time. But if there's stark stagnant blood there, it's not in an environment where the follicles can grow, so then the AMH is going to be lower. But the most accurate way to measure your follicles is with an internal scan. And it's all about quality. It's not how many are there, it's all about the quality. So by getting more bright red blood, invigorating the blood to the area, and more nutrients in that blood, that's the best way to get the AMH level up. But AMH is only a minor detail. It's, in my books, it's what's happening with the period, and and with the whole menstrual cycle. To look at the whole view of it.
Okay, that sounds excellent. Just for people who are listening, can you tell them a little bit about what you do when you have patients who come in with endometriosis, in terms of how you assess that and how you do the treatment?
Okay, with endometriosis, first I look at their history if they've had laparoscopy and the results of the laparoscopy, or any internal scans or HSG or any blood results, and then also I do, as I say, I'm a midwife, so I very much recognise that, and then I do an assessment. I actually diagnose from the tongue and the pulse, and so I look at that and I ask them, I go through a detailed history on their menstrual cycle and are they more hot or more cold, or any PMT or any digestive issues. So what I'm trying to do with everyone that comes into me is get the body as balanced as we can. And the big thing with endometriosis is the dark clotty periods. And as I say, you know, if the dark clotty periods, then it'll impede on implantation, whether it's natural or whether it's IVF. And also to get the egg to develop in a well-nourished environment. To me, it's like planting a seed in the ground. And if the ground is all mucky and marshy, the seed won't grow. To me, it's very similar with the egg developing in the ovary. If the ovary is cysts and endometriosis, it's hard for the egg to develop in that environment. So with Anna and Kathy, as they say, you know, straight away the period changes to a bright red period. So I use herbs to invigorate the blood and move the stagnation and get the body more alkaline, so that the egg can develop in a better nourished environment, and then that the embryo has a more well-nourished environment to embed into and to prevent miscarriage. And I look at the autoimmune system, and because endometriosis is an autoimmune system reaction, so it's about using herbs and food supplements to help with that, and obviously with the acupuncture too. But I don't need to see women that often for the acupuncture like Kathy. I just saw twice before she became pregnant. And so with people that are distant, I often only see them every couple of months. And I give them herbs. Herbs would be the main thing to treat the endometriosis. But acupuncture certainly helps too, and a particular diet, and antioxidants, castor oil packs, which maybe I need to discuss in further detail later on. But yeah, there's certain things that they'll do. Yeah.
Okay, and then Anna came in as well for severe period pain as well, endometriosis. And can you talk maybe talk about what happened there?
Yeah. So I came to Siobhan. I had been to a gynecologist for persistent pain in my left side and was diagnosed with endometriosis after a laparoscopy.
Yeah, it was actually severe, wasn't it?
Yeah,
severe endometriosis. Yeah.
And it came back. The pain came back after about 2 months. And I was just offered either another laparoscopy or just remain on painkillers, which I wasn't happy to do. So I came to Siobhan to be treated. And I think it was like within 2 visits, the pain had nearly completely gone. Only the days around my period, I had some slight discomfort.
Yeah.
But day-to-day functioning, I was a lot better. I had more energy, and I could stay awake longer, and I was off the painkillers. So.
Yeah, and then there was and then there was one time Anna came as well, and she came in with her water bottle. She was in the waiting area with her water bottle, and Anna knew it was a cyst because she had said there was once when she got this pain, she ended up in casualty with the pain. So we did some acupuncture on Anna that day, and I sent her home and advised her to do the castor oil pack straight away when she went home, and I really felt that would be enough to get rid of the cyst. So when Anna went home, she used the castor oil pack.
Within about 20 minutes, it totally had dissolved, it had popped, and the pain was gone on my side.
Wow.
Yeah, it just completely subsided. So it is something I find very beneficial for endometriosis and cysts is the castor oil pack, using that method. And then Anna decided, Anna got married last October, 2 years ago in October 2015. Okay. And at this stage, so we were pain-free with the period.
Yeah, and I come to Siobhan a good bit in the run-up to the wedding because I didn't want to get a cyst in the run-up to my wedding, and I didn't. And we decided we'd try for a baby after the wedding, and 2
weeks after that, yeah.
And I had a really healthy pregnancy, and I have an 8-month-old baby now
as well.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, the week I was due, Siobhan had said come back. The week I was due, that she might be able to help speed up the labour. So I was kind of hoping that it'll work.
But I was actually overdue then by 5 or 6 days, and I punched Siobhan maybe 3 times in the week that I was overdue. And according to the midwives, my labour was quite short.
For first
time baby.
Very good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah, no, so it really helps. And with Anna, even though she was diagnosed with severe endometriosis, it was the worst type, and with the endometrial cysts and all that, and a persistent pain for the whole month. Once we got the blood moving and the stagnation cleared, then when Anna tried to get pregnant, it happened straight away because all the work had been done, the stagnation was cleared, and the eggs were able to develop in that well-nourished environment. Implantation was able to take place straight away.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Siobhan, how typical are these cases with both Anna and Kathy?
Yeah, I see, I do see many women with endometriosis. And as I say, sometimes it's not even diagnosed endometriosis, it's dark clotted periods.
Okay.
Actually, the main physiological cause of fertility problems I see is dark clotted periods. Whether it's endometriosis, whether it's not, whether it's miscarriage, whether it's failed IVF, implantation failure, the main problem I see is dark clotted periods. So I'm well used to treating that, and I recognise it straight away. And I think it's something, unfortunately, not recognised enough in Western medicine. If the period is dark and clotty, it's hard for the egg to develop in that environment. It's hard for implantation to take place. I see this a lot. Yeah, it's the main physiological condition that I see, be it endometriosis or be it just the symptom of dark clotted periods. Yeah.
And how easy is it to treat with the traditional Chinese medicine?
It is very easy, as these girls say, within the first month. They notice the difference. Even if someone has painful periods 10 years beforehand, obviously I can't be claiming anything, but women say they'll see a difference straight away with the first period. Yeah, it'll be brighter red. And the main cause of painful periods is the uterus trying to contract to get rid of the clots. But once the clots breaks down with the herds, the uterus needs to contract less, and they have less pain.
Oh,
yeah,
that makes sense. Wow.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
And they also feel more energy. Sometimes these women might get PNT coming up to the period, so I work on the PNT with the herbs, so they feel in better form, less stress, and more energy throughout the month. Yeah, yeah, which I think would be.
And so, in terms of the success rate, you have good success rate with this.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have exact statistics, but it is very successful. If anyone's looking out there, and some women, not everyone obviously writes their testimonial, but there have been many women have shared their stories on the website and written their testimonials. So,
absolutely, and actually, I know both of these women here, both Kathy and Anna, came because they wanted to be able to help other women. Specifically because if you go to some of the regular doctors, there's sort of one view of treating things, and so you're not aware of some of the other options that you have available. Siobhan, can you just tell us, for women who have endometriosis, what are some of the things that they can do themselves to help themselves?
Right. Yeah, that's a good question. With endometriosis, endometriosis is recognised that the body is in an acid condition, so we need to make the body alkaline. So to make the body alkaline, foods definitely plays a factor with this. So foods that would be acid and would be dairy foods can be quite acid. Sugar is quite acid. So wheat, but to a lesser degree with the wheat. And also meat that is treated with hormones. Unfortunately, some red meat and chicken is often treated with hormones, so it's best to get meats that are free range organic would be better. And also antioxidants are very good. There's very good supplements called pine bark extract. It's also called pycnogenol, and it's a powerful antioxidant which women can take for endometriosis, or actually fibroids or polyps are under that category also. Stress is a factor with endometriosis too, so for women just to look at that and to address that with them. Stress can lead to PNT, so once the stress goes, the PNT often eases. And exercise is very good, especially for this type. In Chinese medicine, endometriosis is under the category of blood stagnation, and it comes under the category with the liver. In Chinese medicine, the liver stores the blood and moves the blood. So it's about using foods that are good for the liver. So for the liver, not too much protein, and plenty of fruit and vegetables are good for the liver. Also, there's some herbs that women can buy which are good for blood stagnation and keeping the energy moving. Some herbs include turmeric, garlic, thyme, basil, rosemary, mint. They'd all be very good herbs for women with endometriosis. Castor oil packs that I mentioned previously, castor oil packs, there is information on YouTube about this, how to use castor oil packs. And but for the woman, just to be careful, like from 7 days after ovulation, 5 to 7 days after ovulation, in case there's an embryo there, just to be careful not to use the castor oil pack over the uterus. But at that stage, you can use it over the liver, under the rib cage, and at other times use the castor oil pack over the uterus or over the ovary. Yeah, okay. In that general area.
Okay. So can I just see, does anyone there have questions for Siobhan or either of Kathy or Anna here? If you have questions, if you want to put them in the comment section, and we'll get to your questions there. So I might just go to a question that came in by email. There's a question that came in by email from Julie, and she says, have you found herbs effective, had success for patients with an endometrioma on one ovary and with a low AMH and high FSH level?
Okay, yeah. An endometrioma, for anyone out there looking at this that doesn't know what an endometrioma is, an endometrioma means an endometrial cyst. It can be also called a chocolate cyst, and that's on the ovary. So again, it comes back to my point, Julie, with the endometrioma, again, it's stagnation around where the ovary is, and it's hard for the follicles to develop in this area because of the endometrioma. So this can be linked with the low AMH because the follicle can't develop in this environment. And with the FSH, I actually did another Facebook Live on this. It's on the website on low AMH, high FSH. But for anyone out there that doesn't know about FSH, FSH means follicle stimulating hormone. And in Chinese medicine, FSH is recognized as how hard the ovaries have to work to produce follicles. So if there's a big cyst there and it's stagnant and there's all blood there, the ovary has to work harder to get the follicles produced. So the harder it works, it's going to put the FSH up. So this is artificially high and the AMH is artificially low because of the chocolate cyst, the endometrial cyst. So once I would work with that woman to work on the blood stagnation to clear that endometrial cyst, and once the endometrial cyst clears, Julie, then the follicles can develop better. So the AMH level should come up then, and the FSH level should drop. And again, I've seen many women with high FSH levels, and there's a few testimonials on the website. And again, in Western medicine, sometimes I understand that FSH levels can't really drop, but I've seen this dropping many, many times. And once we get in Chinese medicine, it's the blood deficiency. The blood isn't getting to the area, and that's the main cause. So once we invigorate the blood to the area with the herbs, maybe antioxidants, castor oil packs, reducing stress in the system, then, as I say, the AMH should go down, or the AMH should go up, and the FSH level should go down. So I hope that explains it. So it's about working again on the endometriosis, and then the blood results will change with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's been a lot that has been talked about tonight about the endometriosis and women and stuff. But Siobhan, like you always say, that if people are having fertility issues, that you really need to see both partners.
Yeah, I need to see both because my whole theory is that there's two basic things to getting pregnant. One is the health of the embryo. The man is 50% and the woman is 50%. The sperm and the egg each is a full 50% of the potential embryo. There's two things to getting pregnant. One is the health of the embryo, and the other is the endometrial lining and the ability of the woman to hold on to the pregnancy. But with the health of the embryo, if the egg is a little bit weak, or if, say, you know, like in Julie's case, the AMH is a bit lower, the FSH is a bit high, and if the egg, you know, is under pressure developing in that environment, and that's only 50% of the potential embryo. But if the man is just average, it mightn't be enough to form the embryo if it's weak with the egg. So my whole thing is, you know, sometimes only need to meet the man once or maybe twice and to get him started on some herbs or supplements. But if we can get the man's sperm really to, you know, really high quality sperm, it can compensate if the egg is a bit weak. And I've seen this happening over and over again. Again, I did another Facebook Live recently with Karen, and thanks so much to Karen, and talking about recurrent miscarriage. And, you know, my whole thing is carrying a healthy baby to term. So, you know, to prevent miscarriage also, I need to see the man to make sure that the embryo is of best quality. That's the best.
Hello. Okay, we're going to try this one more time. It's really just to thank everyone who came to the Facebook Live this evening. I do want to thank as well both Anna and Kathy, the people who have joined us in the live session. I want to thank Siobhan. Siobhan really puts in a lot of work for her patients. She's so caring and really does try to help all of her patients, and is really very, very committed to helping couples with their fertility journey. If you have any further questions, you can send it to us either in the comments or you can send it by email. Siobhan has been doing these Facebook Live events to help couples who are having fertility problems, to give them information and to also to give them hope. Because there is hope that is available and there is help that's available. So there's more information that you can get on her website, which is www.fertilitytreatment.ie. She is located in the new Sonus Health and Wellness Center in Enniscorthy. Do give Siobhan a call to see how she can help you, and you can reach her at 053-927-0725. So again, thank you for coming, and thank you, Kathy, Anna, and thank you very much to Siobhan.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.